Hello everybody, welcome back to our channel kaviwebdesigns. Now today I got some good news for you. Kaviwebdesigns has just awarded me a new project where I have to create them a website, and luckily for you I have already done it. And I'm going to show you what the requirements are, and I'm going to show you how the website turned out. So let's look at the requirements that they wanted. So they wanted me to develop the kaviwebdesign website with the key sections about product development, team, contact form with WhatsApp integration and AI chatbot. And then they want us to implement an AI chatbot using OpenAPI or Hugging Face, and they chose OpenAPI, FastAPI, and vector database Chroma or Faiss with frontend development on Node.js servers or on AWS servers. So we set up the production deployment on AWS with RHEL or Ubuntu. Then we link the site with www.kavidigitalmarketing.com by updating the DNS a record on GoDaddy, and then we test and ensure the quality of the website and the chatbot. And over here they have even sent me a contract agreement. So now over here I'm done with the website, and they have even sent me a thank you letter. So dear Ishank Reddy, I hope this email finds you well. I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt appreciation for the successful delivery of the project titled Design Website and the AI chatbot development. And they have sent a lot more over here, but I have no time to read through it. So now, without further ado, let me show you the website. So now over here is the website. Let me refresh it. And if you see over here, these two boxes count up. We have done that using JavaScript. And if I move my face over here, you can see that I have a chatbot. And over here, when you go to the website, this chatbot will ring after some time, and it will show a circle over here. Once you click it, the circle will go. And over here we have our assistant. We can type in hi over here. What is the price of a website? And it will take some time to reply, but once it replies, it will say like this: our website services are priced at $500 per website, which includes a fully developed website with front-end and back-end development, as well as responsive design for all devices. And over here, we have done this using RAG, which is Retrieval-augmented generation, where we have given it data, so we convert that data into chunks, and after that, we use ChromaDB to vectorize it. And once we have vectorized it, we can use RAG, where when we ask a question, it will take this question, put in vector space, and what vectors are close to it, means what chunks are close to it, it will take chunks. And ChatGPT over here is really good at ignoring irrelevant information, so it will only find the relevant information from our question and summarize it into this over here. So that's what RAG is. And we have used Python for this also. And the model we are using is 4o Mini. 4o Mini is a really powerful, cheap model from OpenAPI. So that's why we have used it. And over here, here's the About Us page, the Teams page, the pricing, then our testimonial. Then we have a footer with all of these links. So we have Facebook, we have Pinterest, we have YouTube, and we have Instagram. We have light and dark mode, and it is also mobile responsive. So now I want you to go in the comments and please tell us how this website turned out. I would love to hear about you. Now, for the nerds, you may ask, what tech stack am I using? So I'm using HTML, I'm using Tailwind CSS, I'm using JavaScript, and then for the backend, I'm using Python with FastAPI. And then after I use FastAPI, I use JavaScript so that I can connect with it. And for data vectorization, I use ChromaDB. Alright, and just as I told you, I'm using RAG for this AI so that I can get the relevant information. So now for some other nerds, they will ask for the source code. So I'm going to show you the source code real quick over here. And let me open up UI. Alright, so over here is index.html, where I have multiple sections for all the multiple things. And if I scroll down somewhere over here, we will have our chatbot window over here, and this chatbot window will go to the JavaScript. And in JavaScript, we have that counter you saw in the hero page. We have the responsive thing over here for the hamburger menu, and we even have code for the dark mode menu. But for the chatbot functionality, we have all of these. We have this big of a code, as because building a chatbot is not that easy, and we have to even display it, and we have to even display the chatbot once click. So that's why it's a lot of code over here. Then we have images over here, we have style CSS over here, and you may ask, this is not Tailwind, as because over here Tailwind generated the styles.css and we're just using this style.css. And then if you go in the backend, we have data vectorize.py over here, and don't worry about these as because I have not activated the environment. Alright, so now we have our environment.yaml so that we can create our conda environment. And over here, this data vectorize.py is the one that vectorizes this data that we see over here, and the data is in this tar file which I didn't unzip. Alright, so we have the main.py where we load our API, OpenAPI key, and then we have some cross middleware which is for FastAPI, and we have a lot of these. So we have a post method over here which is chat, which requests OpenAPI and gets all of it. Alright, so now this Python code is very simple, and I even got a get method which says /health. This will check the health of our model. So if it returns status healthy, then yeah, it's working. But if it does not return anything, then it does not work, and we have to on the UV-cone. And over here we have import UV-cone, UV-cone.run, all of this. So now over here, if you look in environment.yaml file, this is what all we are using to build this, okay? So we're using datasets, OpenAPI, Watchdog, ChromaDB, LangChain. We have used PyTorch over here. Alright, so now here is our environment.yaml, and that's all the code we have. In this db.tar, there will be some .md files which is our data, and that's pretty much it. And this is for the video over here where we have the operator menu where we can create the uvcon.log, update vector db, stop uvcon server, and many more over here we can do. And then we have autodeploy.sh, which is really crucial as because this is the one which automatically deploys everything for us. No hands, just a simple button press. Alright, so now without further ado, let's get right into this video. Alright, so in this video, we're gonna create the same website that you saw in Google Chrome. This exact website over here, we're gonna create the exact replica of it with our code over here. And now we're gonna do this in Linux, okay? And why Linux, you may ask, as because for production or development, we should use Linux as because it's very secure. Alright, so now let's head right into Linux. So I'm using the latest version of Linux over here. Alright, so now over here, we have to go to the root, that's where we work. And let's do cd temp. If we do ls over here, you may see that I have these tar files that were in our cursor over here. And we have also had the anaconda arm sh file. And over here, if you're on Windows, you might have to download the x86 file, but I'm on Mac, so I have to download the ARM file as because macOS is ARM. Alright, so now once we have downloaded this and put it in here, note you have to also do this. We can go cd ... and the only file we have to create is using mk. Alright, so now we have to create a file over here. So we'll say sudo mkdir. The file we're naming is automation. This folder is important as because this contains auto.sh. Alright, so now let's press ls. I'm going to keep my camera over here. And now once you press ls, we would see that we have created automation over here. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is say sudo check mode to give it permissions as because we're going to use a really cool software called FireZilla where we're going to put a file in there. Alright, so now let's open up FireZilla. So now over here, you'll see FireZilla 2. We open that up. And now over here, we have to type in the host name, which is the IP address. So the IP address, we can type in ifconfig. And if you don't have it, you can use sudo apt update. And after that, you can use sudo apt install nettools. And then after you install nettools, you get ifconfig. Over here, we need this inet. Alright. So we're going to copy it. And to copy in the Ubuntu terminal, we have to use Ctrl-Shift-C. And this is for Windows also and for Mac OS. Alright, so the username is ubuntu. The password over here is also ubuntu. Port 22. Also now we have connected over here. So we're going to go in the root and into automation. And we're going to put the autodeploy.sh in there. And you may wonder, oh no, where do we get all of these tar files and .sh files? It's simple, just go to GitHub and then over here you can type in ishangreddy.auto/auto production and you'll be taken to this repository where you can have the backend.tar, db.tar, and I have even created an installation guide for you, ui.tar, autodeploy.tar, and the menu.sh. Alright, so now if you go to Ubuntu, we can ls over here. Alright, so now we have automation over here. So we can say cd automation, ls again, and we have autodeploy.sh. Alright, so now over here, this autodeploy.sh doesn't even have any permissions. So you cannot do anything. So we had to check mode it. Check mode 777, but over here we forgot sudo. And you may ask why we are writing sudo for every command. And that's because since we are in the root, we have to write sudo as because this is in a root folder. So writing sudo really helps. So because if you don't write sudo, it will say permission denied. So you say sudo check mode 777 and then autodeploy.sh. And press ls. Now you can know the difference that this text was in gray and now this text is in green. So this is a hint that this command over here worked. So now we can run it using /autodeploy.sh. And if you don't know what these all commands do, I recommend you watch our Linux course where our friend Bhavik teaches you everything you need to know about Linux commands. Now we will press enter, and now here you will be given a choice. So you either want to deploy frontend, or you either want to deploy backend, or you want the utility. So over here we go step by step. We press 1 to deploy the frontend. And over here, hands up, I'm not doing anything and it's automatically installing for me. This is what the power of autodeploy.sh is. Alright, over here, it's successful for me as because I have run this before. And now we'll say exit for 4. And over here, if you want to know if it's actually successful, take the public IP address over here, you copy it, go into Google Chrome, and you just paste it over here. And now you would see this over here, where it is here, where the website is here. Alright, so now you may wonder, oh yay, now let me go to my chatbot and type in something like this. But then over here you get an error. You know why? That's because the backend is not deployed yet. So now let's do that. So I'm gonna go to the Linux and just type in the same command, which is .autodeploy.sh. You can just press up arrow and press 2 over here. Again, this will delete the environment that I already had. This is just a mandatory step, as because if you have the same environment again, it will be very hard. So that's why it's deleting it for me automatically. So just press yes a bunch of times by Y. And now it's also installing the DB. It's unzipping db.tar, unzipping database, and it is installing Anaconda for us. And over here you should have a Python version about 12, as because that is just a really useful version to have. Alright, so now it's unpacking payload, and over here I'm not even doing nothing and it's installing Anaconda for me. And Anaconda to install is kind of hard, but then this is doing it automatically for me. And that is a very good thing about automation. You have to do nothing. But if there's errors, you have to do something else because you need to fix it. Alright, so now over here it's creating the environment called production. So that's why I deleted it in the first place automatically. As because if you have an environment called production, then we cannot create the same environment using the same name. So that's why it has deleted it. So now if you look over here, it is installing some libraries such as PyTorch, Python, which is 3.11.11, and also some more which are hidden over here. And this may take some time for you, but it will take a little more lesser time for me, as because I've run this previously, so it's probably short in my cache, but it's still a very slow process. As because if you look over here, 51 megabytes, 41 megabytes, 37, and it will just go shorter and shorter. Alright, so now it's preparing a transaction, it's verifying it, and then it will execute it. So I'll just put it over here, and over here it even says Anaconda version, and then it is even forging it. Alright, so now over here this should also work for you. It's executing the transaction, installing pip dependencies. Alright, so now let's press 4 for exit and copy this command over here by saying Ctrl+Shift+C and Ctrl+Shift+V. So now over here we have production. Alright, so now what we're gonna go is do ./autodeploy.sh. I'm gonna use the third, and now you'll see another menu called operator menu. So now let's check status of Unicon. It's not running, and if you check status of Apache, it will say running. Alright, so now over here we're gonna update. So to do that we press 8. Alright, so now we have ran into an error as because I have not given my OpenAPI key. Alright, so now over here you may ask, what is an OpenAPI key? An OpenAPI key is a key that allows us to communicate with ChatGPT and use its APIs. Alright, so now over here I'm going to go to the OpenAPI platform. You should log in if you have an account or sign up if you don't have an account. Go to API keys. I have 3 over here. I'm going to delete this one and I'm going to create a new secret key called video, and I'm going to pause over here as because I don't want you to see my OpenAPI key. Alright, so now over here I have created my OpenAPI key. So now what I'm going to do, so I'm going to go in my Ubuntu over here. So now what I'm going to do is a cd / kaviwebdesigns / backend vim.env, and over here I don't have my OpenAPI key, so I'm going to paste it in there, and I'm going to pause over here. So once I paste in, you will just see the terminal. Alright, so now quick side note, instead of doing vim.env, you should do sudo, and once we press enter, we'll see the key again. And previously I got an error that's saying no, deny permission. So now I cannot write over here. So I'm gonna get back to you once I write my OpenAPI key. Alright, so now I have written my OpenAPI key. So now it should work. Let me do cd / automation ./autodeploy.sh. 3 for utility. I'm gonna update the vector DB. Alright, so now initializing vector store, error initializing vector store, permission denied, vector DB. Alright, so this is related to permission. So I'm gonna click 9 and 4 to exit. Clear. cd kaviwebdesigns / let's do cd kaviwebdesigns. And over here we're gonna press ls. I'm gonna do check mode. So sudo check mode 777-r. So I'm gonna press -r. That means it's recursive. So if there's any folder in backend, it will go in that folder check mode. If there's any folder in that folder, it will also go check mode that also. So -r backend, and why not also let's do db ls, and now here is now has all permissions. So now let's do cd dot instead of cd dot let's do automation, then / autodeploy.sh. Now let's do utility. Now let's update. Alright, so it's initializing vector store. Vector store initialized successfully, and we'll start monitoring. To stop monitoring, just press Ctrl C over here. And now let's, instead of starting Apache, let's start the UV-cone. But before we do that, we will need UV-cone log, right? So that's what we're gonna do. So let me do cd kaviwebdesigns / kaviwebdesigns and backend. Oh yeah, I'm gonna touch a file called uvcone.log, and what touch does is just create a file. So ls uvcone.log check mode sudo check mode 777 uvcone.log ls again cd cd automation, and then we'll do /autodeploy.sh. Now we're gonna go to utility again. Let's try updating vector DB just in case. Alright, so now it's updated. We will do 6, which is start the UV-cone, but before that let's check the status. Alright, so the status UV-cone server is not running. Let's press 6. UV-cone started, server successfully started, logs are in uvcone.log. Okay, so now we're going to check status. So it says UV-cone server is running. Alright, so now for the moment of truth, let's go in kaviwebdesigns. Now this one. We refresh. So now over here, let me type hi. Alright, it says hello, how can I assist you today? What is the price of a website? It'll take some time. And you may ask, why is it taking this taking less time and this taking more time? As because over here this is a pre-recorded message where if you say hi, hello, hey, something like that, you always say this. And then over here, what is the price of a website? Took a longer time as because this was not in a default recorded message. So it will go to ChatGPT and then you will have the specific information needed so that you can do this. And you can ask him many more questions like, what is the price of digital marketing for 2 months? I know that I have written some spelling mistakes, but now it will still say price per month. So therefore, for 2 months, the total will be 400. We can even check in the website over here. That says 200 per month. Note that you can't purchase anything over here, as because you have to have their bank accounts and all. So they never gave me. So that's why I now put the purchasing API. Alright. So now over here, this chatbot completely works. And you may notice that this and this are completely same. If you look over here, exact replica. So now this is how you can create kavidigitalmarketing.com with just some button presses. So folks, that's it for today. If you want a website, or if you want some digital marketing services, or if you want a AI chatbot, please call me and I'll help you. So this is just it for today. Thanks for watching and bye.